Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm lMalandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us remotely, we have David Wachsman. He's the founder of Wachsman, and we're going to discuss remaining transparent through COVID-19. David, thanks so much for making the time to join us. I do a lot of work with your group, the talent of public relations professionals there, one of my favorite teams to work with. And one thing that I have noticed is keeping the companies that they represent front and center. What are some best practices you're advising them on?
First, Jill, thanks so much for having me on here. I'm a huge fan of the show, and it's an honor to be on. But I will say this, right now is a fascinating time for the companies in the fintech space, and many of Wachsman's clients are specifically in the digital asset realm. For them, nothing slowed down. That is to say, although retail is down, construction stopped, travel's gone, entertainment and sports are a thing of the past, or at least for the moment. Digital assets never stop. The market is 24/7, and the companies that are in some way, shape, or form involved, they're as busy, if not busier than ever before. And so for us, what we're trying to do is make sure that they're part of the conversation, but in appropriate ways. I feel that there's a lot of ways to make a mistake right now, and we're doing our very best to keep our clients on the right foot.
So when we come out through the other side of COVID-19, when this is mitigated and hopefully we have a vaccine and medical capabilities available to us sooner than later, how do you think blockchain, cryptocurrency, digital assets, newer fintech companies are going to look on the other side of this?
So I spent a lot of time thinking, what's the future look like? Not just for our clients, but for the greater ecosystem. And it seems to me like there's an accelerated push towards what's called the digital dollar, or any other type of digital fiat currency. It seems inevitable now that those 3 to 5 year time horizons may shrink, if only by 6 months, which would be incredibly transformative for the entire industry. We've seen that if stablecoins, for instance, have become increasingly popular over the last couple of years, and they are more popular now than ever before. And the reason they are isn't because they're better assets than, let's say, fiat dollars, other than they're on the blockchain. They're not necessarily better in any other way than, let's say, paper cash, except they're already on the blockchain, they're already digitized. I feel like there's going to be an accelerated march towards the digitization of traditional currencies, but this time central banks are going to be super involved. And I think you've seen some of that before, but this is going to come very quickly. But that's only one thing. Blockchain itself is proving to be a necessary technology when you can't see someone. And therefore, when you can't see someone, you might not be able to trust them. And that's what blockchain was invented for, to help counterparty risk, to mitigate counterparty risk, to ensure that everyone's on the same page, even when they're not necessarily next to each other, and to ensure that decentralized organizations or leagues of organizations that are only loosely affiliated can best work together. That's essentially what blockchain is all about. And it seems like this now 10-year-old technology is ready for prime time.
Yeah, and the technology works across multiple sectors. I think it was associated with cryptocurrency first, and when people hear blockchain, especially if you're newer to understanding what the technology is all about, it's associated with that. But you can use it for everything. I mean, it could be a complete game changer when we look at things like logistics and distribution for tracking food. In healthcare, it certainly has multiple use cases. Smart contracts, tickets, it's applicable to every facet of our life, not just digital banking and cryptocurrency.
Let's talk about healthcare, for an example. So right now, we're seeing that the United States doesn't seem to have enough innate manufacturing to produce PPE, to produce, let's say, the pharmaceutical goods that are going to be necessary to mitigate coronavirus and in the end, perhaps vaccinate. We're seeing that we have this dearth right here in the US. What if there were a publicly available database so that the Congress could easily access where are things manufactured, and then where are the wholesalers? It might be that you could go and reduce the amount of time it takes for first responders to have what they need, for hospitals to have goods and services, and of course, to reduce the amount of time it takes for drugs to be eventually approved. If in any way technology could help with that, it's going to go and be on the fast track. And I think that's what we're seeing right now with blockchain. In fact, we're already seeing a number of different bills introduced to the US Congress that would essentially either further legalize or create frameworks around the utility of cryptocurrencies, and certainly to even fund blockchain-related companies that are helping with the relief effort.
All right, David, certainly encouraging. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks, Jill.
All right, and thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.